Will. And we are live. Welcome to the Referrals While You Sleep show with Wendy. And I'm excited. We talked last week. It's supposed to be 30 minutes. I don't know. I think it might have went an hour and a half. Because I love your social media strategy and you go in depth in a ways like I haven't seen a whole lot. In fact, I've never seen the way you do it. And so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, and I'm curious, how did you get into social media strategy?
Well, I have a non-linear path, and I think that's one of my advantages. I first started in accounting and later worked as financial analyst for an out-of-home company in New York. And I was basically helping with like budget for large scale companies like Amazon, Netflix. Um, I was doing the back end, not really the marketing, but that helped me to understand that every investment needs to see an ROI for marketing. And then I started developing my personal brand in financial advising for personal finance, basically. And I start getting traction through social media, and I started then applying different frameworks and different strategies, and I fell in love with social media. After that, I co-founded a marketing company, and we were doing all marketing services. That was for like 3 years. We worked with different company like tech, nonprofit, service-based companies, and that really gave me the understanding of marketing overall and how social media can plug into that. And recently, then I decided to only focus on social media, getting all this experience together and really making sure that the social media strategy that I work on is ROI focus and metric focus. So we're not throwing the spaghettis at a wall.
Yeah, I really liked how it's like a laser focus that you've got. Um, and I didn't know that about the accounting background, the big systems, because you bring a systems thinking, you've got the design, you understand the visual, the branding, but I like the systems thinking that you bring to it. And what what is something that most people get wrong about social media?
So some people they just post without a strategy, and I think that it's just not a very good use of your time. And many people think that they have to even post like multiple times a day to actually have a successful profile or account. And it's not necessarily quantity what is going to work for this. It's more like quality of what's actually working, how you actually position yourself, and how you're using your desired clients, their pain points and their goals to actually target them and actually they feel related to your content as soon as they see it.
Yeah, and part of the goal, I'd love to be able to you're sharing your strategy. So how does your strategy work? How does it get started, and what are the steps that you go through?
Yeah, so I first do like a deep research to understand the brand, the audience, and the industry. So I like to understand what makes you different in your brand, what problem you're solving, and how you can actually add value to your ideal customers. And then understanding your ideal customers, I go deep into what are their pain points, what are their desires, how they're currently solving those that is not working for them, and how you're actually a better solution for them. Where are they at? They could be focused on Instagram, or they could be an audience that is more for LinkedIn, right? And how they behave in each of these platforms. And then I do research on the industry, like what's actually working for that industry in social media. Like what are the hooks that are going, let's say, viral, and what are the hooks that are attracting more people to enjoy that piece of content and why. Not necessarily everything is about selling, selling, selling. People doesn't like to be sold like on the face. So what strategy we can use to combine all this and still have a diverse content planner where you talk about what value you have to offer, how you're solving your problem, and then what's your product or service that you're actually offering for that. So a combination of everything really goes a long way. Um, and doesn't necessarily have to be like a lot of content out there. It could be like 3 times per week, where it's clearly defined each piece of content, what's the action behind it, and what's the purpose. Are you trying to attract just followers? You're trying to attract leads, um, or you're trying to just nurture that conversation so you increase your engagement as well.
Yeah. So you find out about the company you do, and this takes a lot of time, right? Like this research that you do, uh, like roughly, like how much time do you spend in like this phase of you learn the business, the clients, and then the hooks?
Yeah, so it normally takes around 10 to 12 hours. And that's because also I'm a little used to doing it, but it could take longer than that, especially if it's a very niche industry and you need to do more research on it. But maybe other industry that I'm more familiar with, like finance or wellness, I can do a little faster just because I know some of those pain points already, but it could take time, especially the research inside of Instagram. So I like to do the research of the industry inside of Instagram and Reddit, and I like to really take my time to see what hooks are working, um, what's an outliner in their space, why the people are commenting and why. Maybe their questions are triggering you for a new piece of content and give you content's idea from the comment sections, right? And all this is it does take time.
That so you dive into like the Reddit threads and the Reddit comments, and I'm guessing maybe like so you find out like what are the actual words that people are.
You
Is that
froze
right?
first. Yes.
I
Yes.
froze.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm on my Puerto Rican Wi-Fi here, so there's pros and cons. And when I'd love to know, like, there's so much content out there. Once you do that, like, how do you find the hooks? Like, you don't have to give away your special sauce if you don't. But like, how do you find the hooks, and how do you tailor them to the person and the audience?
Well, the hooks you can do research inside of the platform that you're going to post, either LinkedIn, Facebook, or TikTok, and really find a video that is at least 5x their current following. So let's say somebody has 1 million followers. A outperformer is not really a video that has 1.5 views because that's most of their current following. So you want to find a video that is 5 times their current followers count. That gives you an indicator that is a viral video and is performing very well. Um, so that's a good sign just to start looking for hooks. And then how to apply it is basically I do like a full consultation for the customer where I ask a lot of questions about their audience. Sometimes I need to do research right after that, just because some of the pain points that you could think your client has doesn't necessarily are the one that are gaining more traction. So you can have somebody that is problem aware, but they know they have a problem, right? And they're searching for the solution. So that piece of content is going to be different from somebody that still doesn't know that they have that problem. So the conversion on that video or that piece of let's say the avatar is going to be way different because you need to make them problem aware first. So that piece of content has to be directed to them, and then you present yourself as a thought leader, and then you present your solution. So the process is a little longer for that type of client. So understanding what type of clients you want to talk to It is very key just because you need to tailor each piece of content to them.
How does so you've got like problem unaware, problem aware, I guess solution unaware, solution aware. Is that kind of the main categories? Are there any others that are in that realm?
Yeah, I focus on those, problem aware, solution aware, and I also like to create relatable content based on all that pieces of information. And I also like to do storytelling about the founder, and that it will circle back to be some piece of relatable content.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. That's why kind of my first question is always like, how did you get into this? Like what's the background story? And what how do you help someone decide which section to talk to first? Like what how do you decide do I focus on problem aware? How do you think through that? How do you help them know? And do you have like a default if they're not sure, start with this one?
Hmm. Well, it is easier to start with solution aware, also depending if you have a product or service. But if you have an audience that already know they have a problem and they're looking for the solution, especially for e-commerce, it is way easier to connect and sell the product because they're ready to buy. Um, if you have a service that say also it takes some time just to create that trust between that person and your services, and that could take a little longer, and that would probably be the problem aware path that we take. So it really depends. I will also create a combination of them just because you don't really know who's watching you yet, especially if you have like a newish or not very active account. Have to try different formats and different methods. So you do a little bit of everything in the beginning. And something else that I like to do in the beginning is three important pins that your video pins that you're gonna put at the top of your profile. One is about who you are and what makes you different or what makes your company different. A second one is what's your ideal clients, like basically talking to your ideal client. And the third one would be how you can actually help them and present your solution. So those three videos are one of the first ones that you have to push out there.
And do you help your clients? Like, I imagine your clients are like, okay, that sounds good. What do I say? Um, do you tell them what to say?
Yes, so I help them with the script because all this research gives me all that information, and then I can also structure a video in a way that is actually going to perform better, which is hook value and CTA. Um, but they can change a little bit of it, especially in the value section, just because they're the expert. And also, they were trying to create content in a way that felt more comfortable for them. But I do help them to create the script. So that eliminates that um, barrier of I have to think what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to say. So I give you all the tools, and I actually give you the script. You can just say it to camera, or you can make a little switch or twist to the content so it feels more like you.
I So that's nice. They show up, they have a conversation with you. Um, that's pretty in depth. Then you'll spend like 12 hours researching them, their audience, the pain point, the hooks. I like that little tip. You're looking for 5x someone's audience. That's how you know that the social company like pushed it wide virally. And then you give them exactly what to say. Is that right?
Yes, the process works. I do the research, I do the scripting. They only need to record the content, and it could take just like 4 or 5 hours per day, and it's like one day a month. So I just need 5 hours per month to get all the content recorded, because once you have that pre-production all set up and organized, it's way easier because I give you all the different scripts. I give you the idea for each of the scripts. Stand up, sit down, maybe walk around, try to cook something, or pour a cup of coffee, something that is visual. So that's part of also the scripting. You have to use three different hooks, ideally, for a video to perform better. And then after you record, I do all the video editing, captions, color corrections, everything. And then I do the posting. So I don't like to post in different platforms, the third party platforms, just because you lose a little bit of control of audios, for example, like trendy audios. So I like to go to the platform and manually post it, and then I can see better results through that. And I can also do trial reels, which is a tool that not everybody knows about and not everybody know how to use it and maximize their use. And that's only available inside the Instagram app. So I like to post manually just for that reason as well.
Yeah. So you covered a few things. Three hooks. Um, if someone doesn't know, like, what is your description of a hook? Um, and then like, how do you like what makes a good hook?
Okay. So a hook is that 3 seconds of the beginning of each video that's going to make you stop scrolling and watch it. So the hook has to really speak to your audience or be relatable or speak to a problem or speak to a solution. So that people are like, I'm interested. Let me see what the video is about. So that's the most important piece of your content. You have to be strategically picked up so you can have the better result. Because if nobody's watching the first 3 seconds of your video, they're not going to watch the rest. So they're not going to see what your expertise is about, or they're not going to see what solution you're bringing to the table for that video. So the hook is the most important piece of the content. Um, and then if you can use three type of hooks in your video, that would be ideal. That could be audio hook, if you're listening to something. It could be music. It could be the sound of pouring water in a glass. It could be a clap. It could be anything really that it's just like audio. And then you have to have a text, a reading hook, which is basically when you add text on your video, like a title. And then you have the verbal hook, which is what you're saying. So if you combine those three hooks in a video, that's going to perform better than just using one.
And you create all three for your clients. Is that right?
Yes.
Um, do you have like a favorite like go-to audio? Like if you're not sure, like one of these will always like be my default.
So I try to just use trendy audios when I'm looking for a B-roll piece, when the founder or the person is not talking, then I use the trendy video. I use the most of the time educational content and doesn't need to add a lot of audio in the back. But audio effects is like it could be like a typer, it could be like a bean, it could be really depends of what's the video about, and you can add a little something to make it engage and more engaging.
I love that. Um, and then um, wh- how do you decide on a call to action? Like if someone's watching this, like what do they need to think through for the call to action? Uh,
Yeah. So for call to action, you need to identify each piece of content. Like, what do you want them to do next? Do you want them to follow you? Do you want them to engage? Do you want them to save it for later because it's a piece of content that is evergreen? Or do you want them to comment and keep the conversation going in the comment section? And another thing is you can use automation. So let's say you have a free guide about a checklist for a website, for example, things that you need to look out before you start your process for web design. And then you create a freebie or link magnet, also called just a resource, free resource. And you create that piece of information and then you put in a comment the word X, and I would send it to your DM. So that's an automation that allows people to just comment that specific word, and it will send them that information immediately. And it can be immediately also added to your CRM or your marketing, um, email marketing platform. And that piece of content could be delivered through the Instagram app, or you can send it directly to their email. Ideally, keep them in the platform, but you collect all your information so you can continue nurturing that lead outside of the platform. But basically, understanding like each piece of content has a purpose, and how do you want to, what action do you want each person to do right after they watch your content. People need to be guided. That's the way I see it. And even they see a piece of content and they may not take action on it, if you tell them to do something after, you have more probability actually that they do it. And that's also a way for you to
Yeah.
generate leads. If you're looking for leads, then I highly recommend automations where you provide a free resource like magnet freebie and you deliver to that person immediately. And it's basically you're helping them to trust you with a piece of content that is valuable and it's free. They can try it, they can use it immediately. They see that it works, they see that it solves a tiny problem that they have out of like the big problem, right? And that person is more likely to actually continue asking you for more information or book a consultation or buy the product that you're offering right after. So all of this is how to be taken into account for CTA.
I love that. Um, so, speaking of guiding people, someone needs social media strategy. How can they reach out to you? And what areas or clients do you serve best?
Yeah, they can reach out to me through my website. It's wendybetancourt.com or my email contact at wendybetancourt.com. But if you go to my website, you can see a little bit more of my work. And I'm happy to hop on a call and answer any questions about social media and actually look at your account, give you a couple of recommendations. Um, and then in terms of like what type of clients I take, service-based businesses that are looking to provide educational content. That's my expertise because I think that creating valuable content and positioning yourself as a thought leader in your industry is what's gonna make you create that trust for selling your services. And it's also gonna lead you to podcast invitation, to speaking engagement. It really depends on what your goal is. And it could be from leads to brand awareness. And I can help you to set up all that structure.
That's awesome. Well, I know you're busy today. Thank you so much for hopping on this. And if you guys want social media strategy, I talk to a lot of different agencies, a lot of different people that do stuff. I love your strategy, the way you spend so much time up front to dial it in, and then you literally hand it to them on a silver platter. Which the people, what I've heard, the biggest complaints are, I don't know what to say or I don't know how to handle the tech, and like you help it with them. So um, that's awesome. Hopefully we'll do this again, and thank you guys for watching. We'll talk to you guys again. I'm gonna hit end stream.
Thank you very much.